Hey grade 11s, so today is a big one for me, and it's because I am going to start off by taking you guys into the world of HTML for the first time, where you create your own little setup and it opens through the internet. So just to refresh your memory, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. And in essence, if I can really simplify it for you guys or dumb it down, it is taking text tags or text coding and writing a little script and being able to open it up on the internet. Okay, and yes, it's going to take some time to get into this, but there's a couple of key things that you need to remember when you do this. Number one, you're always going to work in a very simplistic application, and that is called Notepad. Okay, Notepad is probably the most basic form of typing. There's nothing special about it. So this is where we're actually going to create something. Okay, and that is the first important thing that we need to work with. Okay, and part of why I say this is because it's not as simple as just typing hello and welcome and going, okay, I'm going to open it into the internet. It doesn't work that way. Okay, so my whole thing is I'm going to just introduce you to a basic setup today. I'm going to introduce you to some tags, because tags is the instruction that you are telling the internet to understand when it opens up this document. Okay, so we need to now focus on what are tags and where can tags come in handy. Now, I'm very nice. When you guys do this practical exercise, I will give you what we refer to as a tag sheet. So I'll quickly open an example over here. This is an example of a tag sheet. Okay, this is very basic tags, and this is exactly what I just want to cover with you people today. Is the basic ones, and you'll find that in a very simple HTML that you set up, this is which tags you're going to be using. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you guys through about 4 or 5 tutorials where we build our HTML, and we're actually going to send out, or we're going to create an invite. Okay, but that's not all. We're going to put little images in our HTML. We're going to put some hyperlinks in there, so it's going to look a little bit fancy. Okay, so let me just go through some of these tags that we'll be using, and please note that these tags, as it is here, has to be in the triangular brackets, okay, or the arrow brackets like some people call them. So let's go through them. The first one is HTML. Okay, so you always start your notepad with open tag HTML, because it declares the web page to be written in hypertext markup language. So no matter which HTML you do, you must always start with that one. Okay, if you have the head, okay, that delimits the page's head, in other words the heading space. We go into the title, which defines the title. This is not displayed on the page. So in essence, if you open up a web page, and I'm going to show you an example of what we're going to actually create. This is generally the little title that goes up on the tab heading when you open the internet. So if you, for instance, go into takealot.com, the little tab at the top there will say Take a Lot. You can't do much editing to this, okay? It's just telling you that that's what the page's name is, or the title of the page. We go into the body section, and this delimits the page's body. So that's the section where we're going to be writing now the content, okay, where we're going to put in the information, which is known in the body. Then in the body part, we have H with an N for number. Now you can go up to number 1 to 5, okay, and if memory serves me right, I always get these two confused. The smaller the number, the bigger the heading. Okay, so if you go open tag H and you put a number 1, that will be the biggest heading. If you go open tag H and number 5, it's your smallest heading. Okay, and then we have B to make something bold, open tag I for italic, center, to obviously align something horizontally. We will go later on into the nitty-gritty things about where we do the width, the height, and all those things. But for now, I just want to get a basic HTML going. Then we have a UL, which is an unordered list. Okay, so it's a bulleted list. We can either have normal round bullets, which is the default, or you can set it to be square. That is an unordered list. And if we have a OL, an ordered list, an ordered list is where we follow a numerical pattern. So the first point will be 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Okay. Then we have a BR, which is a break. So in other words, you'll see when we start working in Notepad, if you type, it's just going to keep on running, keep on running. So break is basically where you're telling it, okay, it needs to text wrap. Okay. So you'll see in the example that I've set up, and basically this writing that I've done over here, all the orange highlighted sections are the tags that you're going to be using, and we're going to create something. And just by the way, this is over 4 tutorials, 4 or 5 tutorials. Okay, so break is to force a text wrap. The P is for a paragraph. So if we want to do paragraphs, if we're going to do a long section, we're going to use paragraphs. Again, for the purpose of this example, we're not going to use paragraphs now because I first want to get you guys into it. Right, we have an HR, which is a horizontal rule. So basically we end off the page with a nice line. And then these are the beautiful things. The image source. SRC is for image source. And an anchor hyperlink reference. Now, with these two over here, these tags, okay, when we do an image source, that is when we want to insert an image. You need to be careful when we do this, and I'm going to do it slowly with you guys, and it's in the second tutorial where we insert images. If I look quickly at my notes, whatever the name of the file is and how it is spelled has to be exactly the same when you type it in here. And your file extension has to be exactly the same. Okay. If for argument's sake the image is a JPEG, in other words JPEG, you can't go in your HTML go JPG. It's not going to register. Okay, and it's going to throw your image out and it won't display it. So we need to just be careful of that. Okay, sounds quite confusing, right? And it sounds quite intimidating, but I want you to trust me now and don't overthink this, because I'm going to help you with this. Right, so with all of these tags that we're going to be doing, and we're going to actually start today, we're going to start with a few. I'll show you what we're actually going to be creating. We're going to do an invitation, okay? Our school's turning 50 years old this year, or it is 50 years old. So we're going to just create a little invitation to our parents to invite them to a bring and bra. Now, please understand, this is not actually a real event. It's just something that I'm making up. And we're going to set some things up, and this is what we're going to create at the end of the day. Okay, you can see on my screen there, I've got a heading that is floating across the screen. It's going to wrap around now. Okay, we have some text over here, and we have some important information. And we've also got some links that when you click on it, it will register a bit, so don't stress about it, and it will actually take you to the page. There we go. Right, so we're going to do all of this stuff over 4 or 5 lessons. Okay, like I said to you, there at the top where it says you are invited to, that is what we call the title. All right, we can't add any fancy fonts or anything to it. We're just going to leave it like that. So we're going to be replicating exactly what I've done over here, okay, just to get you guys into it. So with that said, we close this and we can keep this one open. Right, so you'll see I was quite kind and I left the tag sheet open over there. And we're only going to do a few today. Right, so I've already, like I said, I've already scripted this on notes, and for me it just works easiest when I write it down. Right, this is normal typing, nothing to freak out about. So the first thing that we need to remember is we have to start off with a HTML. Okay, we start off with HTML. Now guys, I have a habit of typing in capitals. Okay, you can type in lowercasing if you want to. It's just my habit. Okay, it does not affect how I do my work. So this is just my prerogative, my method. Another thing that I like to do is I like to do my tags beneath each other. Some people write them after each other in long sentences. If it works for you, it works for you, but I like to see it this way. Okay, so we start off with HTML, and we've got to obviously start off with our little title. Okay, so we open the tag title. Okay, now we can just type our normal title. So what do you want it to be? And we said we're going to say it is you are invited to. That's what I'm going to say. Okay, so that's what I want to appear on my title. This is very, very important though. In HTML, things are boxed by a tag. Okay, so what that means is if you look on my notepad, I've opened the title section. Okay, I've put my title in, but now I want that to be isolated. So I want that to be inserted. Okay, so we've got a ruling in HTML. Whatever you open, you have to close. Okay, so think about when you're having dinner. You eat from the outside inwards. You always see those fancy movies with all the knives and forks and all those things. Start from the outside in. Coming back to this, we've opened the title. We now need to close it. And how do we close it? With a / and the name of the tag. Okay. Right. Now, to see if I've done this correctly, okay, we know the page is going to be blank. I just want to see, is my tag going to work? Okay. In other words, I just want to see, is that top section going to work? You need to remember, and this is a tip, when you save an HTML, you must first save it. You guys can choose your file destination over here now. Okay. So for the purpose of this, I'm just going to throw it onto my desktop. I'm just going to create a folder here quickly, and I'm just going to call it test. So the first thing you need to remember is you must first save it as a text file. So you delete the little star there, and we're going to call this now invitation. Right? You save it as a text file. Right? Your file has got the .txt, and you save it as a text file. Right? Then you need to save it as an HTML. So in HTML, when you do this work, you're always going to save twice. First the text file, then the actual HTML file. I go again, save as. I leave my file name as the same, but I just go .html. And the save as type, I just change it to all files. Alright? And if I hit save, we're just going to open this now to see, does my HTML open? So I go to my file where I saved it. You'll see there's a text file and there's an internet. It's got a little internet icon on it. If I double click that, it's blank. I haven't put anything in. But look over there. My title works. Right. It works. So that's already telling me I'm on the right step over here. Okay. Right. So let's move on. I close this. I don't need that open. Okay. I open up my file, and here we go. Right. Now what you want to do is we want to open up the body. So we want to activate that we're going to be writing now the body, the content. But I'm going to add a little bit of a twist to it now. Okay, so we open body. So it's like when you do English. Okay, you have an introduction, you have a body, you have a conclusion. So we're going to go open the tag body. I hit the space bar, but I want to be a little bit fancy and I want to add a background color to my page. Okay, because white is very bland. So what I do is I go BG for background, and color I spell COLOR. Alright, I hit the equal button, I open my inverted commas and I say light blue. Close my inverted commas and I close my tag. So that's telling me now, okay, we're going to be writing in our body, okay, but part of our body is we have to activate that the background is going to be a specific color. Right, so I'm happy with that. Remember, I've told my HTML so far, I want there to be a title, and then we've got the title, we've closed it, and now we're opening the body. Now we want to put our body in. Okay, don't worry about the HTML that's open yet and we haven't closed it, because you open the HTML first, and that is your last tag that you always close, because that tells me my HTML is now done. So that will stay open for a while. It's only going to be closed at a later stage. Okay, so right, we've got our body in, and now we want to put in our heading, okay, to say, wow, you are now invited to. So I'm going to set this up now. I want it to be the biggest. I want a nice big heading. Okay, I want it to be bold. It must be in italics. Right, so let's start off. It has to be a heading. So we're going to choose H to represent heading. And then we got 5 sizes, 1 to 5. And as far as I can remember, the smallest number is the biggest heading. So we're going to make it H1. All right. Then we want it to be bold, and we want it to be italics. So in other words, what I'm saying now, whatever I type there now, it's going to have a heading size, it's going to be bold, and it's going to be italics. All right. And what we're going to write there now is we're going to go birthday, birthday invitation. Nice and big. It's bold. It's going to stand out. Now, earlier what I said to you guys about opening tags and closing it, you always close your last tag that you opened. Okay, let me repeat that. You always close the tag that you last opened. So the last one that we opened was italics, so that means we're going to close the italics. We're going to close the bold. And we're going to close the H1. Right, so it's working our way from the outside in. Okay, right, let's just quickly hit a save here. Alright, so we're going to go File, Save As. I'm just going to double click on my text file because it's already there, so I'm going to overwrite it, yes, and then I'm going to save it again, but I want to see all my files, and I double click on the internet one. Do I want to overwrite it? Yes, I do. So I'm just checking what I've done so far. I've saved it, okay, so I want to see now, do I have a tag label at the top, and do I at least have a heading with a background color of light blue? Let's minimize that and let's open it. And if we open it, we're making progress. Okay, so we have a blue background, we've got a birthday heading in there, we are making some progress. Okay, that is it for the first tutorial. Okay, we will go into tutorial 2 a little bit more detail about what we can expect, but for now you've started your HTML. Okay, you're doing great, and we will continue in the second tutorial. Thanks guys.